All right, cool. Let's get the party started here. We got a few more people loading up in the room. All right, guys, welcome to Nick and Reed Coast to Coast. Sans Nick, so you just get you don't get the beautiful face today, but hopefully you get the brains of the operation. So we'll see how that goes. So last week we had just a fantastic conversation. And I think Stephanie was the one in Gary's mastermind group that brought it up, just talking about going after builder business. And so we had just an incredible conversation with Sandy and with several other people last week, really from kind of a business perspective, what it looks like to go after builder business and some of the differences, right? So kind of the overarching difference that I heard was really it's plan and execute as opposed to run and gun. And so for those of us who may be more used to running and gunning inside of our business, that really doesn't work inside the builder space. And so they talked about that and just really dropped some great knowledge. So Nick and I got off that call, and the conversation that we had was, man, it would be amazing to follow that up with people who are out there beating the streets, going after builder business successfully. So I reached out to the one and only Steve Ryder. Good morning, sir. And he put us in touch with the four amazing people that we're going to be talking to today, really to take it down another level and to get more tactical when it comes to going after builder business. So that's going to be the name of the game for today, is really just continuing this theme of what does it look like to systematically go after the builder business, and what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of that. So that's the play for today. You guys ready?
Set.
All right. So since Keith's at the beach and looks the most relaxed out of everybody here, Keith, how about you start us out? Welcome to the show and tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and let's jump into this builder business.
Awesome. All right. Keith Burton actually used to work for a top 100 builder for 15 years doing land development operations, sales.
Uh-oh, did you freeze on us?
The wind got him.
The wind got him.
Coming down here to beautiful Arizona, and I ran into Mr. Steve Ryder, and the rest is history. He had a program that could not go wrong, especially because I was already doing it back in Minnesota and Wisconsin.
Excellent. Okay, so what is that program? Just like walk us through the nuts and bolts of what it is that you do to go after builder business.
Well, the builder business was, when I first got here, especially to the West Valley, there was just inconsistency with people visiting the builders and being there every single week. And I see my job as really education for the builders, because they really don't, their agents are, I guess, trained just to try and get that contract. That's it. So my job was to find out what kind of hurdles they were running into. So that's why I created a interest payment sheet, and which has really helped them solidify sales with it. So yeah, just keeping the consistency going out there, seeing what's happening in the market. And then we've got a lease satisfaction program that we do here that I did back in Minnesota, Wisconsin, very successful. We do the list assist. If we've got other people in other areas, like Robin right now is actually helping me with a buyer down here in wonderful Phoenix to sell their home. So we use the team in order to help out with that. And that was, yeah.
Let's deep dive into that. So there was a lot of stuff there to unpack.
Yeah.
I want to start, first of all, with education, right? Because this was something that came out last week as well. Is you walk into a builder and you say, hey, look, I'm the world's best salesperson, unlike all the other salespeople that have told you the same thing.
Right.
And instead you go down this route of education. So break that out for us. What do you mean by you educate a builder?
Well, because most of the sales agents that they pick up are going to be inexperienced agents. So in fact, I've run into a number of them that were selling pharmaceuticals, advertising, stuff like that, or just fresh to the business. So the builders just train these agents that know nothing about, I shouldn't say nothing, but to explain how contingencies work, because they're not in our world. A lot of the time they're just with the builder, because the builder contracts are set to protect the builders. So in order to educate them, especially down here, about the laws and stuff like that, even though I'm not an attorney, but
Yeah. Well, what are some of the things, one of the things that caught me off guard early on in my real estate career was all the things that I thought, lenders and title and other people that were in this industry knew. And as it turns out, like, even though builders are knee deep in a portion of this, what are some of the things that you just constantly run into the fact that builders just don't know?
the biggest thing I'm finding is when people come into the builder, they don't know any of the upgrades at all. So that's, if a client comes in the door and says, hey, I understand it comes with black appliances, what would it be for stainless steel? They don't know. And, after sitting in models for 15 years and managing agents, it was to teach everybody to at least get a response. Sorry, I don't know. Let me get back to you, and gather their contact information and at least get it to them. There's so much that actually goes into it, from proper training, grading. And it's amazing at how many agents that I've walked into and they sit behind a desk and put their feet up. And that's not how I guess I used to teach my agents,
Got it.
grading. And a lot of the agents, or excuse me, the builders, don't put their upgraded models as how it's modeled on the blueprint or the floor plan that they hand out. Because a lot of people walk in and go, oh, I can get this house? Really? For 330? Well, not really. It's 440, but we've got a little bit of upgrades in there, kind of deal. But yeah.
Got it. Okay, so let me ask you this. So in today's current climate, what are the programs or the things that you're using that are the most effective right now, helping people get in there?
The lease satisfaction program, especially in Maricopa County here, we've got over 500,000 renters in Maricopa County right now. And in Arizona, where I'm at, it's 2.5 jobs to every one person. And people are flocking from California. I was doing a builder grand opening. It was about a week ago. There was 70% of the plates that drove into the parking lot were California. And a lot of people want to come here first to make sure they don't shrivel up and dry up from all the heat, and see if they like the area. Well, when they like the area, now it's like, oh, hey, I want to buy a new home. Oh, I'm in the lease. So that's something I brought down, which when you explain it to some of these people, it's like, that's too good to be true. That's too good to be true. No, been doing it for almost 19 years now. So,
yeah.
So basically.
So explain it to us. Yeah.
Okay. What the lease satisfaction is, if somebody comes in, most leases have a satisfaction or a break fee or anything like that. So what I've done is you go on as the buyer's agent, so that way you can get the 3% commission. Then we evaluate the lease. We do a spreadsheet on it and say, great, it's going to cost us $4,000 to satisfy this lease. Well, we're making $6,000. So to me, that's a no-brainer. You're at least making something, and now the builder has a lot of trust in you because you're getting things done when nobody else is.
I like it. That makes sense. Sandy, you had a question. You want to throw it out there?
Sure. So I was just curious, with the agents that are on site, there's always a balancing act of how much information you want them to be able to provide versus how much you want them to refer back to you so that you can keep kind of control over that conversation. How do you teach your team to do that?
Well, thanks for the question, but right now, I'm not worried about giving these agents all the information because they actually get a weekly report from me on the market, the data, any information I can give them, whether it's a spreadsheet on how to figure payments, anything else, because I never go in there expecting something in return. It's, I'm building that trust. So, I mean, I've been to a couple communities for a year and a half every single week and have never received a lead. But those people know exactly who I am, what I do, and believe it or not, I've actually sold 2 of their houses. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that was something that came out the first week we talked about this too, was everybody that we interview is playing the long game, right? You know, the first thing is like, wait a second, you're gonna make $6,000, you're gonna give $4,000 away. Like, that doesn't make economic sense. Well,
Right.
It does if you want to have business for the next 10 years.
Bingo.
Right. So that was definitely a theme. Awesome. All right. I'm going to roll over to Robin. Thank you so much, Keith. That was awesome. Robin, hello. How are you?
Good, good. This is getting exciting. Sitting, I feel like the little puppy dog in the window when Keith is talking. I'm going, okay, there we go.
Excellent, excellent. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you hail from? And then start dropping knowledge on us.
Okay. I'm a native Nevadan, and I have been in real estate. In January, it will be 32 years. Yes, I started when I was 5. So we'll just keep it with that. Okay?
You're fantastic.
Yeah. So I started in general real estate, and I was in general real estate for 2 years. And I decided that I really didn't want to put someone else in my car without knowing how homes are built. So I ended up going into new homes. I was in new homes for about 13 years. And I actually started Pulte Homes in the Las Vegas market when 9 of us got together and launched Pulte to become one of the major builders in the Valley. So I left the building industry in 2003 and chugged and chugged and chugged. And then I had an opportunity come to me just over 7 years ago. And that opportunity was to change companies and at the same time launch in Las Vegas, the builder trade-in program. So, and by the way, in case you hear launching in the background, the dump trucks just decided to pick up the trash at the same moment we're talking. So a little
That's
bit
right.
of background there.
It's
There we
2020.
go, right?
It's all good.
So anyway, got to launch the program, and it was planting seeds. I had friends obviously I came out of the builder industry. I had friends. And the neat thing about the friends that I had, they were high up in the industry, and they all remembered and the Core 9 that launched Pulte. So that happened to help considerably with the planting of the seeds. I picked up a builder, and then a year later picked up another, and so forth. So currently working with 4. The one thing that I will have to say before I go into the how we do it, the ups and downs have certainly been, and the challenges have certainly been what has challenged many in the industry, and that is with the builders. They love the idea of tools in the belt for the salespeople, and they love the idea of successful sales. Yet they also love the idea of it costing them zero. So the challenge is to make sure that we stay relevant when all the other people come charging in your, Opendoor, OfferPad, and Zillows of the world, and we have to stay relevant and where they are actually paying us a commission to bring them more business. So that gives you a lot in a sentence or two.
Yeah. So unpack the relationship side, right? Obviously, you came into this from this kind of this builder maybe mindset, or at least this builder space. So if you were on this call and you didn't have the same background that you do, what is the knowledge base that you would say, hey, roll up your sleeves and go learn these things?
It's funny that you would ask me that because of Mr. Ryder and some things that he said, and something most important is he said that I needed to join the Southern Nevada Home Builders Association. Well, that got me right in with the builders. even though I knew a lot of people around the table, let's pretend I didn't. I got to listen, I got to learn a lot, got to hear their aches and their pains and their conversation about realtors. And the neat thing about the conversation about realtors, I turned around and took that and made it into a CE class, 3 general CEs, and teach it regularly to the agents here. And in order to do that, it really, truly, you have to get into the nuts and the bolts about builders. You know, what makes them tick? What's their bottom line? What's their discussions around the table as far as, are they allowing contingencies? Are they not allowing contingencies? Why are they not allowing contingencies? What's their aches and pains? Because when you get in and you can really, truly understand their aches and pains, that creates a relationship in itself, because you can come in and be the knight in shining armor. And as Keith said, you earn their respect and you earn their business. And we could do it even with relationships. We are something else learned. We are a top down, bottom up. I am the top down relationship person. So I stick in with all the management and all the vice presidents of sales and marketing and presidents and so forth. And my brother and my listing assistant, both, Sandra's been in the business and truly knows new home sales. She came from that. So that's a point too. Surround yourself with those that have the experience, and they are my bottom up. And they're out in the field consistently and constantly. So it's both of those. But going back to anybody that's starting and doesn't have that as experience, they've got to go in anything that you don't have knowledge on, you learn.
Love it.
Dive in.
So let's get tactical around what it is that you do. So you talked about the builder training program. So start unpacking some of those things for us, if you would.
As far as examples would be, where we create relevancy, is we make sure that we are constantly giving the builders and constantly giving the salespeople tools in their belt. We want to make sure that that particular buyer that comes in and has a contingency or is in a lease or wants and has the desire to purchase that home, the salesperson just looks at him and says, you know what, I have the company to take care of you. And the confidence that salesperson knows to hand it over. And then when I say the confidence is when COVID hit, for example, here, we didn't lose, and I'm going to knock on a lot of wood when I say this, we didn't lose a transaction. We kept them all in, we got them all closed. And it didn't matter, everybody knew that I was in the trenches and I was getting it handled, and no matter what, was going to make sure that, that they closed their numbers. And that consistency and the fact that they know and can count on. So they have the tools in their belt, the buyer's agents create more sales, and they know that when I tell them that we have a 98% closing rate, they know we have a 98% closing rate. And people look at me with those numbers and they go, no. And I'm like, yes. So it's that.
Awesome. I love that. Man, that's awesome, Robin. I really appreciate that. Great information. All right. So let's jump over to Leonard, who's been waiting here patiently.
Hello.
How you doing, sir?
Wonderful.
Excellent. All right, where are you from? And talk to us about builders.
I'm from Dallas, Texas, born and raised, and I was actually second generation new home sales. So my father sold new homes starting in the late 80s, and then I sold new homes for 14 years, and then I've been a licensed agent working with builders for the last 8 years. And so, worked for private home builders, nationwide home builders, and, since the late 80s, actually the builders, I have old training of my father's, taught new home salespeople that you should have a trusted real estate group to deal with what we call contingency management, customers with homes to sell. And so I think, some builders try to, reduce realtor participation. So that's one side of the coin. And then others look at us as teammates and problem solvers. And like Keith and Robin both said, we overcome objections. So we're the reason for the sale. So that's the fight we fight. The good fight we fight every day is that the builder partners we work with know that they wouldn't have gotten this without us. So there's some affinity at the other side of the coin for builders. Oh, we would have gotten the sale anyway, and that is an unsafe assumption by the builder's part, in my opinion, because there's so many directions that client could have gone, and to make that assumption is a pretty big one. And coming from sales and being in sales, I would never make that assumption. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we deal with all the wrangling of people. So you said something that kind of piqued my interest there. And that is, some builders are like, hey, you're a necessary evil. We've heard that before. And then some, they look at you as a partner. So talk us a little bit about maybe image management between you and the builder. And then what are some of the things that you do to make sure that the builder wakes up every morning and thinks, man, this is my partner. I can't do this without him.
Yeah, I think, most brokerages tell agents, go out and befriend a salesperson, and so being in the chair, I've experienced it. Everybody with new home sales experience has agents coming in saying, I want to work together, send me a lead and stuff. And, but they don't have anything to offer. And, I'm going to piggyback both Keith and Robin in the sense of the best way to do it is to ask the salespeople, what kind of foot traffic are you getting? Where are people coming from? And then, what are people that you're seeing that you don't have a solution for? Give me your toughest person. Like Keith said, somebody walks in interested in a inventory home, quick move in, and they've got 8 months left on their lease. And they're like, God, this house is gorgeous. We'd love to buy it, but we can't afford a mortgage and rent. Great. We've got lease assistance, customers that are scared of non-refundable earnest money with a builder, that it's non-contingent. Great. We've got a real estate group who has a safety net program. They have the ability to purchase your home. So your home is sold no matter what. So let's move forward with this, right? So it's basically seeing the objections that the marketplace is giving the salespeople and letting the salespeople know we have solutions for those problems.
Excellent, man. I love that. So, okay. So are you directly working with the salesperson or the salespeople for the builder, or are you trying to get up the food chain?
Both, but I have the most success from bottom up. So I would, in my experience, I would go and talk to the top new home salespeople at various builders, and management would say, this agent group is our preferred group. And I'd go talk to the top person, and they don't use that, that group that management was talking about. And so that's where the bottom up has worked best for me, so that if, proof's in the pudding, you build up those sales and overcome those objections. And then that salesperson is now telling management, hey, Leonard helped me solve this. And then now I'm having formal meetings. So I've kind of grown from bottom up. So start at the bottom and work the way up to the ladder, and then now have earned management's respect, so it all starts at, earning the salesperson's trust and confidence, and then working your way up. But some builders, you do need management approval to work with the salesperson. So it is a very tough line. And, but I've had, realtor groups when I was in new home sales, hey, this is what we offer. And, I would never use them because I had a solution that, solved every problem that I had, you know, and so kind of being, the best thing is being the one-stop shop. When I was in new home sales, there was the guaranteed buy person, the lease assistance person, and the, you know, it was all different people. And when I joined Steve Ryder, it was like, well, we're the one-stop shop. We offer all of it, you know, and so you don't need to go anywhere else. I offer it all. And so that message is what I'm out there promoting, is that, you know, we can do it all.
Awesome. What do you do? I'm going to pitch this back to Robin. A question for you, Robin, is what do you do to, and I'll bring this back to you guys as well. What do you do to keep the edge of the sword sharp, right? To not, you know, like, hey, I have these 4 programs and they work, and then all of a sudden you blink and you haven't been paying attention, and that's not really what the builder wants anymore, or maybe not the solution needed.
I think there's something else about solutions that creates one to be on their toes at all times, and that is change of management, change of relationships. The person that loved your company, loved everything that you did, believed in you, touted about you at the sales meetings, etc., welcome, you know, gave you the red carpet, all of a sudden is no longer in your arena, and they're in another state. So what it is constantly staying in the minds and in front of, not the salespeople are very much what Leonard said. The salespeople have to be nurtured all the time. So we're out every month, and I know that, like Keith is out every week. In our particular case, we're not. We're out every single month, and we're in front of them, and we're bringing them something that's going to, again, assist them. We don't go in empty-handed. It's always something to gain them more business, find out what their biggest challenges are. How can we assist them? It's never about what are you going to give us? It isn't that. It's what are we giving you to assist you? That part. And then I'm constantly staying in front of, I'm part of 2 different committees for the Southern Nevada Home Builders Association. I stay in and I stay relevant, and I started sending the updates as far as the market updates. I started sending them to one of the chairman of one of the committees. And so I started to send them to him just before the meetings to see if I would catch his attention. Well, now I get to speak about what is happening in the resale market in Las Vegas in front of all the builders, so they can ask me questions. So it's consistently sharpening those tools on my end. It's not just bringing them great tools. I'm having to learn every single day.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Love it. Oh, okay. So I'm going to bring Derek into the conversation. Derek, good morning. How are you? You just got your drink of water, so I know you're ready. Oh, you're still on mute though. Wait for it. Still on mute.
Hey, Derek, you good looking guy. There you go.
You ready? Are we good?
Hey, there we go. There we go. There we go.
Fantastic. So I will speed through this. I'm going to tagline on some things that Keith and Robin said because they're relevant. So long story short, I've been working with home builders. I'm in Southern California. I've been in the real estate industry full-time for 25 years. I got into the builder space about 10 years ago. Some friends from Cal State Fullerton, USC went to go work for a company called Centex. They called me up and said, hey, management needs to sell some homes. I did the closeouts, and what I learned is that management doesn't always stay there. Companies merge. So when they merged with Pulte and they merged with Del Webb, I got an interview there. Then management left to Meritage, William Lyon. And one of the things that I think launched it is that I was given a contingency. I moved the people out because the house was a disaster and put paint and carpet in. Didn't tell management, but one of the salespeople told management that I did that on my dime, and that kind of started a snowball effect. Okay. So I've been in the builder space. I can just tell you a couple things that I've learned because I think that's the value. Okay. One of the things that I wrote down, Robin just pitched on it, and Steve has taught me this. Never take a client for granted. Okay. So when management talked about, I've worked with Meritage Homes for years and years and years. I went through three levels of management. Hey, when management leaves, don't assume that, you're going to be the guy. Okay. So, and I'm going to rifle through this because that also goes down to both what Keith and Robin said as far as the top down or bottom up. One of the things that I've learned is that you really have to build relationships at the community level. Okay. Because one of the values there is this: they may get new management, but if somebody's been at a builder for 10 years and they say, hey, we understand you got your program, but we've worked with this guy and everything runs clockwork. You can shuffle everything else out, but our contingency management should stay in place. They're going to listen to the salespeople, okay, on more than one occasion. I would say this, going back to Keith, I can tell you, I was Keith 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago, every week. And I have a good friend that is the #1 first American rep in the United States, title rep. I asked him, how'd you do it? He just said, hey, bro, very simple. Out of sight, out of mind. Okay. And I was in their grill, and I can tell you this, that, I have lost some of that business as I've been going through growth pains in my business, my operation. Started off with just a little 8-person team. We're at 47 people. I'm involved in different businesses now in the real estate space. And I can tell you authentically that my builder business has been hurt because of that. Not that they don't love me, not that they don't like me, but going back to Keith, out of sight, out of mind. I can tell you one of the things that I did from a value add standpoint. They were calling me with CMAs and, hey, do value checks. And I just went into management and said, hey, look, instead of you guys calling guys all over the state, do you have people moving here from Spokane? Do you have people moving here from Tulsa? Yeah. I'll run CMAs across the whole country and do value checks on all your contingencies. That was a big value add for them. You mean we only got to go to one place? Yeah. What about your team? Nope. And another thing is this, that, one of the things that I have, I operate quote unquote that team model, but I tell builders, I go, hey, they're going to get me. Okay. They're going to get me. And they're not going to get somebody that's been with me 10, 15 years. So I think that builders like that too. I can tell you some of the weaknesses that I've learned that I need to shore up are systems and collateral. Okay. I did it a lot on what Gary talks about, and, I get on those mastermind calls, personality driven. So I got to a substantial amount of business with the builder business, but it was all personality driven. It's kind of one of the things when I looked at my business and then where Steve got to, not that Steve doesn't have a good personality, but he's got hella systems. Okay. So, a couple things that I would just say is, you got to be very thoughtful about your approach over the next 5 years. And I would just say that we all worried about the iBuyer space and Opendoor and OfferPad and these things. And I was on, Steve knows that I've been on, had conversations with Opendoor and stuff like that. And one of the things I said is like, hey guys, and this was before they started their brokerage 2 weeks ago. This was like 2 months ago. I said, hey, look, every brokerage is going to be an iBuyer and every iBuyer is going to be a brokerage. Let's just get that out of the way. Okay. So I think bringing that fact, you need to have that part as a bullet point, whether it's a relationship with Opendoor, whether it's, a HomeLight program where the seller actually gets the proceeds. I don't know if you guys know about the HomeLight trade-in program. I mean, I would just say one other thing, going back to Keith and a lot of people, and, maybe Robin mentioned it. Reed, you mentioned it, the long game. Okay. We'll clock in about 400 deals this year, and I want to get it to 1,000. Okay. And I still want to be a salesperson for the organization. I want it operating at a 7th level, but, going back to that long game, my goal is this. I want to be the whale hunter. Okay, so taking down 10 builders, having partnerships with the major iBuyers, getting back to, I think there's going to be some REO accounts coming, all of that. And what I learned is this, I read a little bit on the #1 casino host in the world out of Vegas, works for MGM Grand. And what I took away from that was this, is when you're going after big clients, sometimes that guy will fly out to Chicago every month just to play golf with Michael Jordan, just to get him to come to the MGM Grand for one weekend to bet. And when you're going after these big accounts that can change your financial landscape, be okay that it's not going to take a week. Understand that it's going to have to be a persistent long game. So it's my 2 cents.
I love it. That was great. Well, because it makes me think it's not just the long game for the business; it's the long game to get the business, right? Like this whole thing is different, right, in some ways. So,
And
all right.
Ray,
So let me, go ahead.
Can you just interject one thing here? And this is something that I have done. I know you guys are going to laugh. I put together a cooler, and I always have chocolate bars, protein bars, everything else. Bring them in, because I know I used to work for a builder that it was mandatory. We were there 9 to 9 Monday through Sunday, and you get busy writing a contract, you need something to eat. So I get that, but I also have a list of short-term rentals, because that's the biggest hurdle.
Wow.
I've got short-term rentals, I've got movers, I've got storage companies. So it is truly the one-stop shop. I
love it.
You've got it all right there.
I love it. That makes a ton of sense. So let me roll through you guys and ask this question: like, what are either the stupidest things you've done that didn't work, or like if you were an agent wanting to get into this game, what would you just say? Hey, please don't do these 3 things. What would they be?
For me, Leonard here, the coming out of new homes, I thought it would be quick money. Like, I've got all these connections, everybody's going to start using me. And like everybody's saying here, I hit a rough patch, and I was not making the same money I was making in new homes. And one of Steve's guys, Ray, said, Leonard, whatever you do, don't quit, less than 6 months. And I didn't start feeling it till month 8, and I almost quit at month 8, and kind of hit that backstop. I was, surviving, and month 9, I ended up putting over gross commissions, over 200,000 in gross commissions in 1 month. And in month 8, I was going to quit. I wasn't, making a paycheck over 20 grand. And I left new home sales. I made 300,000 to 500,000 a year in new home sales. So I wanted, like Derek, I want to run a big team, and the sky's the limit. And that didn't that's not what happened in new home sales. But the resiliency that this is not a quick buck, that it took me, about 18 months to start getting regular paychecks that beat my new home sales paycheck. And so I was cocky at first, and then scared, hit the wall, and then, busted through and never looked back, and it's changed my life for the better. So, but it is the long game, kind of like Robin said, farming, but this is the longest farming you've ever done. Like, this is not, there's no way to put Miracle-Gro on it and get those seeds like going faster. But like Gary said, Steve, Gary, everybody, it's doing, literally, did I do incoming producing activities every day?
Yeah.
When I wake up in the morning, and if you do it, the fruits will come from those seeds. It's just, you never know when, but you have to keep at it. And so I was a little too cocky at first, and then scared, and then persevered. So Derek, they're all set. The long game and resiliency, persevere, make sure you got enough steaks in the freezer for the bad times and good times, all that. So.
Beautiful. I love it. Robin, what about you? What do you think about that?
No, I'm going to have to back up that. I think the biggest thing that I would say, and the most important to myself that I say on a regular basis, is just, keep the good bones of the business, keep the meat and potatoes, and pay attention to the gravy every time, and change it up and change it up and change it up by keep the bones, keep the good, and just always stay relevant. The relevancy is going to make you continue to have a paycheck, because the moment you are no longer relevant, you're no longer paid. So I think that's my biggest thing.
Interesting. It makes me think one of the protections that we have as traditional residential resale agents is we have, in the case of people in this group, hundreds or thousands of employers, right? And so, like, if you get a little, behind, or you're not paying attention to the bleeding edge, it doesn't catch up to you as fast, right? For those of you who work in big accounts, you have fewer employers. And if you don't stay on your toes, if you're not innovating constantly, you don't lose a deal. Like, you could lose an account. And so the stakes seem to me to be quite a bit higher. Derek, what do you think? What are the top 2 or 3 don't do these?
Well, I'll mix them in with top 2 or 3 do or don't do. One of the things it goes from that guerrilla marketing book written, 30 years ago. The way that I really trudged in was I just said, if I have nothing, but if I have speed as far as response times, that was going to be where I was going to hang my hat to start off with. Okay. I would go back, don't do these. I talked about lack of consistency and, Robin's comment on relevancy. I would say, as far as don't do, don't start off if it's not going to be the long game consistent. I know that's kind of been the theme, but I would just say that. Okay. Go back to Leonard's statement. It's that acres of diamonds, people stop short. So, the other thing that I would do is this. I mean, we had to, getting the chance to become friends and partners with Steve. When I first started working with him, I thought I was pretty hot stuff. And the good news about hanging around with a certain group of people is you find out that you've got so much to improve on. And that's been a huge blessing in my life. And most people could get discouraged by that. I've been thrilled by it. But there's a lot of holes. And one of the things that I would just say is this. One of the things that we've looked at is the quality of our collateral. Okay? And I don't think that you can just say, oh, it's collateral and it looks good. I think you need to say, we're taking like a come to Jesus saying, hey, if we're competing against Compass and we're competing against these other guys and Redfin's Builder Division, hey, our collateral needs to look good. It needs to look incredible. Okay? We can't just, kind of just get by with doing what we've done, or we're going to get smoked. And I think you just got to say, okay, I got to invest some time, money. The other thing is this. I got this from an agent that's, we have this large organization in Keller Williams out here called Forward Management. And I was talking to them about some marketing. They say, hey, we're sending these mini iPads for like $25 and with our listing presentation to $5 million plus sellers. And I said, God, if I could get a presentation done for management, going back to Robin's top down, man, if I could get 50 little iPad presentations and send them out to like the guys at Meritage and Pulte, all these, that's completely different than the other 50 calls that they're getting saying, hey, let me get the account. Okay. So Reed, it's not, what shouldn't I do? It's, we are being forced by the market and technology and, competition to raise our game. We're being forced. It's not an option. It's not, oh, I want to do it. We're being forced. So you either got to go fighting and kicking your ass, say, hey, good. This is an opportunity for me to raise my game.
Love it.
I second that. Don't do it alone, right? I wouldn't have gotten through those tough times without coaching and the fact that somebody's kind of plowed that path forward ahead of me, right? I get peace and comfort knowing if somebody else could do it, I can do it, and then like 3M, I can tweak it, make it my own, make it better kind of thing. So I'm not, Steve's my visionary and I'm an implementer. So if you put it in front of me, and it's working and successful, then I can do it too, kind of thing. So.
Love it. Keith, what do you think? What's the do or don't list? Oh, you're mute.
I would say for sure the don't list is don't walk in the door expecting anything, because I hear that from some of the reps. They say, yeah, I just get bombarded with these realtors that come in the door. Send me your contingent people, send me this, send me that. No, I've actually set up searches for my communities so they can keep an eye on the market. I'll print that stuff out, I'll bring it to them. And yes, for sure, this is a long-term deal, because I was just looking at my board. I've got 6 closings scheduled in June for next year already. 6. So you just gotta stick with the plan, because if you don't, you're gonna be spinning your wheels and getting frustrated, and you will wind up quitting. But like I tell people, never give up. You gotta
Love
keep
it.
fighting.
I love it. Awesome. So thank you guys so much. This is such a clear theme as far as the things that you guys all do consistently. And it's funny because it probably fits the model of most business building, which is, these aren't the things you want to hear, right? You always want to hear the magic pill. You always want to hear that there's some sort of a life hack. And yet, when we take a step back with this vertical or any others, it ends up being the long game. Right. And the reality is this group of people have really done well at that because they're top producers in whatever, discipline inside of real estate they're at. So what I'd like to do, Steve, I'm going to put you on the spot, my friend, because I know you can. So typically we do a wrap up, but Steve's the master here in this space with these guys. And so Steve, would you give us just kind of the wrap up? Like what did you hear today? And what are the things that you want us to really take home with us as a result of this conversation?
Thank you. I love it. So each and every one of these guys have personal grit. So that's the one common trait that you're going to see with anyone that's in working with builders. And with grit comes professionalism. You can be as tenacious as a bulldog, but if you don't have professionalism, and they don't learn to respect you from the very beginning. Derek has come up with some amazing, incredible ideas that are just off the charts different to get the builder to recognize him. So when we talk about top down and bottom up, I'll clarify that. Top down is always trying to get management to work with you and get you into a meeting and say, hey, today, from now on, we're working with Robin Smith and the Smith team, and the downside of that is you get out of a meeting and you got 47 referrals. And how do you handle 47 referrals in 30 minutes, right? So, but that's top down, and I can honestly say, as a wrap up, number one thing I learned when I went to a builder in 2007, I said, listen, I just lost my 2 accounts. They both went into bankruptcy. And as you well know, my wife's freaking out. What's the one thing you would tell me to do, such as by doing it, it's going to allow me to stay in this business? And just like that, he says, oh, that's easy. I said, what? He goes, oh, yeah, that's easy. I was dumbfounded. I said, well, what is it? And he said, join the Home Builder Association. If you join the Home Builder Association, you'll be one of them. And it'll give you a whole different perspective. And I said, well, Norm, geez, I've been taking you guys for 18 years to the MAME Awards. He goes, yeah, but you're not a member. If you were a member tomorrow, you'd be playing golf with about 150 builders. And I said, what does it cost? He goes, like $800. I said, I'll see you tomorrow. And it changed my life. So this is a down and dirty webinar that really gives away what we do and why. So that's the number one thing that I've learned over the last 10, 15 years. And then from the bottom up, when they talk about innovate, we want to first be relative. And then once you're relative, you want to make sure that they're going to use you. So when they're going to use you, you have to be needed, right? And when you actually get to the point where you're reporting to people and you're one of them, you're part of the report. We have over 15 builders that get a weekly report with our numbers. this year versus last year versus last year versus the year before, and they say trending, and they know they can count on us. Our number one client is going to do, let's say, 860 transactions, and 382 of those are going to be ours as a team. And our trade-in program is on their website. They promote us.
Awesome.
So from from that standpoint, it can be an absolutely tremendous opportunity for you to get into builders. But like anything, I think all of these guys sharpen my saw. And I'm a collaborator. When Gary said, why do you want to do this? I said, number one, I like to share. Number two, I like to teach. It was number three, I'll probably learn more than they will. And number four was, if I make a buck or two, God bless me. And here it is 7 years later, and I might net 250,000, at the end of the day for 7 years. I think what I've learned and what I've been able to share and learn from these individuals here on the screen is by far worth more than money.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, guys, I just want to thank you again for sharing your time and your expertise. So Leonard, Keith, Derek, Robin, and Steve, thanks for doing this with us today. And for the rest of you guys, thanks for being on the show. And hopefully you got a lot out of it. This, as always, this will be posted into Gary Keller's mastermind group, as well as the one for teams. So if you want to share it or get it on the recap, it's going to be there here in the next couple days. So thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.